Hello and welcome to History 202, Contemporary World History from 1900 to the present. This introductory lecture is designed to give you an idea of the approach we'll be following this semester in analyzing the history of the world that we all live in today. First of all, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Jordi Getman-Arasso. I'm a professor of history at both Bronx Community College and the CUNY online program at SPS. I have taught for the online program since it was founded back in 2006. I'm a strong advocate for online education, and I'm always looking for new ways to engage students in learning using new technologies. I very much look forward to working with you over the coming semester as we analyze the historical structure of our present-day world. History. What is history? Just a bunch of famous people and a number of dates? Certainly, a lot of people believe it to be that way. However, my argument to you over this coming semester will be that history is something different, something much more analytical. At a basic level, history can be defined as the study of change over time. Change defines differences between past and present societies. Without change, we would not need to study history, as our societies today would be the same as those in the past. The analysis and understanding of the changes from past to present is at the heart of history as a discipline. So, what kind of changes are we talking about? The list would have to include physical changes in the size of societies, in the way that societies fed themselves, in the way in which they moved. Movement, in fact, is a very important change in history. There are also changes in ideas and conceptions, change in morals and values that people have held to be true in their societies, and there have also been changes in governments and the economy, the types of people that rule over us, that we allowed to or were forced upon us to rule. There have also been economic changes. There have been a number of different economic systems that have come and gone, some more successful than others. And then there are the changes in everyday life. This is the change that often receives the least attention, but which has most directly affected societies and the individuals that constitute them. Physical changes, changes in ideas, conceptions, moral values, government, economy, all of these come together to create an environment, the world, in which we live, at times suffering and at other times flourishing. So, why do we study history? Why are you taking this course, and why is it important that we understand what happened over the last century? There are three reasons I would like to propose. First of all, and perhaps most importantly, history is important because it allows us to understand the world we live in today, with its complex collection of events and developments. Without understanding the past, the process of change that has led to the present, we cannot accurately understand our world today. Many past events, often from hundreds or even thousands of years ago, are still exerting important influences on our world today, creating the parameters within which we live our lives. If you look at conflicts such as those in the Middle East, the emergence of Al-Qaeda and modern terrorism, or more recently, the rise of right-wing populism, such as the rise of Donald Trump to the presidency here in the United States, these are not things that emerged out of thin air. They all have a historical background that we have to analyze so that we can better understand why it is that all those conflicts exist today and how they affect our world. Beyond that, history is important because it helps us identify society's collective memories. Just as individuals would lose their identity if they lost their memory, societies could also lose, or more correctly transform, their identities by changing their perceptions of the past. From individuals to whole nations, humans understand themselves through their collective and individual memories of the past. Throughout history, societies have revisited their past and changed them to fit their evolving needs. Something immoral in the past can become acceptable in the present. An enemy in the past can become a useful ally in the present. Each one of these changes require a shift in the collective memory that will justify such a change. In fact, most modern social and political conflicts arise from differing interpretations of the past. Historians can serve us as both guardians and interpreters of our collective memory. Lastly, I would propose that history is important because it allows us to develop our own individual intellectual freedom. Knowledge of the past can open our minds to view the world from different perspectives, something you should keep in mind throughout the semester. Think about how you can liberate yourself from established ideas that you've held throughout your life. I'm not saying that you should do away with those ideas. I'm just saying that you should be flexible enough to step outside and see what they really mean to you as an individual and as a member of society. Many of the fundamental questions regarding human existence have been asked for thousands of years, and you should ask yourself those questions this semester as well. We will time and again encounter questions about how human groups relate to one another. How have different societies with different moral systems come to be? Is war justifiable? And if so, under what conditions is it okay to fight each other? How should society be organized? How should the benefits and responsibilities of society be distributed? And lastly, how should governments and societies distribute the wealth they create? Now that we've covered the importance of studying history, I want to concentrate on the difficulties that one encounters in studying history. This is something that historians continually struggle with, and that you will struggle with this semester. What are these difficulties? The most important, I think, is determining whether what we are reading about the past is actually the truth. Is what is written in the history book or in the memoirs of historical actors really the truth? Is it really what happened? In answering these questions, it is important to differentiate between facts and opinion. There is a tendency to think that historians concentrate on discovering the facts of a past event. In reality, historians deal much more specifically with opinions related to that past event. In fact, whenever historians look at a historical period, we try to separate fact from opinion. Let me give you an example. If we were at Yankee Stadium watching a Yankees-Mets game, there are certain facts that everybody there, all 54,251 people, would agree on: the date, the time, and the score. Yet, if you asked every person there what they thought about the game, what their favorite play was, we would get 54,241 different opinions. Some of them would be more similar than others, but we would still be looking at over 50,000 different opinions. The same applies to every historical event we will evaluate throughout the semester. For example, the Civil Rights Movement in the 1960s. Some of the facts are the following. Martin Luther King Jr. was a leader of the movement, and the Civil Rights Act of 1964 ended segregation and banned employment discrimination on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. Those are facts. However, there are also many opinions attached to these events. These opinions included what different individuals thought of the end of segregation. Some supported it, and others opposed it. Some considered it a significant victory in the struggle for equality in the United States. Others considered it a defeat of established white supremacy. These sharp differences of opinion led to confrontations, sometimes violent in nature, between supporters of one or another side. And these sharp opinions did not fade away after the end of segregation. The more recent rise of right-wing populism and the white nationalist movement in the United States, which culminated with the election of Donald Trump to the U.S. presidency in 2016, is inspired by very similar opinions and political views that motivated the resistance to the civil rights movement back in the 1960s. Some consider President Trump's campaign slogan, "Make America Great Again," an inspirational call for a return to a time when Americans were better off economically and when American society was more united and hegemonous. Others see in the slogan a call to a return to the times of white supremacy and inequality in American society. As you can see, with every event, there are an interminable series of opinions. Historians aim to not only identify the opinions and their reasoning, but also analyze the impact of opinions on the facts, on the events that have caused the changes that have influenced the world we live in today. In this course, you will be a historian. So as we go through this semester, remember to keep facts and opinions separate in your mind. Don't confuse opinion for fact. Don't confuse opinion for truth. So, how do we overcome these interpretational difficulties? The best way, I would say, is simply to keep an open mind. We should be flexible in our interpretation of what we read this semester, because that will help you to better understand the opinions of past societies. Knowing the facts, that's easy. The dates, that's easy. Understanding the opinions of the people that lived in that time is a little more difficult, and that's why being flexible can help you gain a more balanced understanding of history. Try to think about the motivations behind opinions instead of just reacting to them. Being flexible can also help you better understand the opinions of your peers in this class. All of you will be interacting with each other, exchanging interpretations and opinions. You will gain a lot more from these interactions if you are flexible and you keep an open mind. Try to figure out and understand why it is that your peers are arguing what they're arguing. Lastly, I would say that keeping an open mind helps you better understand your own opinions. This is something that we don't often do. But we should look introspectively. We should try to dig deep inside and find out why it is that we believe what we believe. Before ending this introductory lecture, I wanted to suggest 3 words to live by for this course and beyond. Those 3 words are communicate, respect, and enjoy. I want you to communicate clearly, both with me and your class peers. It's the best way for us to understand each other. And when you do communicate, communicate with respect. All of us will be voicing opinions throughout the semester, and as such, we should be respectful of other people's opinions, both when we write our interpretations and when we respond to others' contributions. Beyond that, one simple concept: enjoy the course. This semester in this class is about learning, but it's also about being thoughtful and creative.